Hi friends, welcome to Kreativ. My name is Jackie. I'm going to take you step by step through a really fun painting today of a llama, and I do encourage you to make it your own. So you can add flowers like I have, or a hat, or a bow tie, or maybe a bow, whatever you'd like. So we're going to really start thinking about how we can decorate our llama and make it our own. So while we're waiting for a few more of our friends to join us, you can grab your supplies. Today I'm going to be using acrylic paint. And I am using a light blue, white. I'll be using black, but I don't have that on my palette yet. I'm going to hold off on that until the end. I have yellow, pink, purple, and green. You can use whatever colors you love, or you could even use some color pencils or crayons or markers. So grab your supplies, get comfy, and we'll just get started in just a few minutes. I'm just going to adjust our paintings back here, but start thinking about what you would like for your llama, how you would like to dress it up. Do you want to change the color of it, make it your own? So I'm just going to move these up a little bit for us, and we'll get started in just a few minutes. I hope you're having a wonderful morning so far. The morning is flying by. All right, I think that's a little bit better height. So just get comfy, grab your supplies. Again, I'm using acrylic paint today. I have a turquoise or a light blue, or any blue would work, or any color. White, yellow, green, pink, and purple. And I will be using some black as well. Hello. How do you say your name? Is it Jorge? Or George? But anyways, nice to see you. Get your color pencils out. All right, so today's painting, or this morning's painting, is going okay, yay. I just want to make sure I got that right. I'm horrible at names. So I have a really fun painting. We can change it and make it our own. Like I was suggesting, maybe a bow tie, or a baseball cap, or a bow in the hair, or like I have here, my flowers. Also, you can really play with your background. We'll talk about some options. And today my canvas is vertical. Of course, you can turn yours horizontal. I also have been painting on paper, so I have some watercolor paper that I've been really enjoying. I love how the paint moves on the paper. So if you have paper, that will work as well. Color pencils, markers, crayons, whatever you have, perfect. All right, I'm going to show you my supplies, and then we'll get started. So I hope you're all having a nice day. Welcome, welcome. Let me just turn this. All right, so I've run out of paper plates, so I am using the same one over and over by just putting a piece of tin foil on there. So, so that really helps by just adding tin foil, and you can just take that off and toss it. My colors, again, turquoise, white, yellow, pink, purple. I have another blue, some green, and I will be adding black. Also, if you are using a tabletop easel, here's another painting of mine. I just have my paint right in front of me. You like that, Jay? You can add a baseball cap if you want to yours. And so I have my paint right underneath here, so I just look up and down, pretend that's the llama. I also have paper on my table just to protect it, and I have paper towel to wipe my brushes off. I have a whole bunch of different brushes to play with, a big one. We'll go over those a little bit later. I also have my water for washing my brushes, and I have a whole bunch of other brushes just in case I want to play with those. All right, so I'm going to put you back up there and we'll get started. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm excited about this one. So really start thinking about yours, and we can add some really cool things to this. All right, so step one, I know we all have our paintbrushes, and we also have our finger that we use, and it's really helpful. So here we go. Our first step, we're going to get the shape in, and it's like a big upside down U. All right, my friends, let's see if we get that. All right, just like that, perfect. So that is the shape of our head and neck of our alpaca, all right? Or not alpaca, it's a llama. Who said that? That was you. It's a llama. So I want to have enough room for his ears. So I'm just keeping an idea of how big I want his head and neck to be. And it is that upside down U shape. So let's just get that shape going. And I'm going to just use the color of my background. All right. So hi, Alicia. How are you? Alicia, I love your studio that you're creating in your basement. It's gorgeous. I love it. So definitely I want to see more of that. Also, if you have your space, wherever you are, kitchen table, wherever you are, I'd love to see your workspace. So take a picture and send it to me either in a private message or here in the comments. I'd love to see your space. But now we're going to decide what color we want our background to be. So I am going to use this blue, but I'm going to start by using the blue with white. So I have my long brush and I'm going to use, it's just a flat brush. I find it's really good to draw with. So I have this one here and I'm going to use white paint and I can just put that on the side. And I also have a little bit of that blue and I'm just going to gently mix those together, wiping on both flat sides. All right, so here's that finger again. I am going to create that, it's almost like a finger shape for his little head and neck. And I'm keeping in mind, I want enough room for his ears, all right? So one thing I can do, one little tip, let's see how tall we want it. I'm gonna say right about here looks good. So that's gonna be my top of my llama's head. And now I can really get that shape in. Again, one more time with your finger. And this is with a light blue. So I'm gonna move over a little bit on the side. I'll make a little dot and now I'm gonna go up. And I can do this in kind of a few little marks. And I'm gonna go down. Maybe the bottom part is a little wider than the top. There is absolutely no wrong. All right, so I'm gonna just get that a little bit darker just so you can see. Awesome. All right, let's add those ears in. I hope everyone's having a nice day. So nice to see everyone on here. And I'm going to create my first ear. So I want to have a nice like forehead or top of the head, and then I'm going to figure out where I want the side of my ear to go. So one trick I can do is, again, using my finger, I'm going to draw a straight line out on an angle and I'm going to stop. And that's going to be this bottom part of my ear. I then know that I have a diagonal up and then I'm going to return back to my head, keeping in mind the amount of space I want right here on the top of the head, right? So let's picture that top of the head. I'm going to make a little mark just saying, all right, I want to stop here. And now I can go up. So I'm going to start here. Why not? I'm going to go up, take a look, say, is that the one, this side, inside or the outside of the ear? I'm going to say that's the inside. So now I'm going to curve it over to do the top of the ear, and there's no wrong. And now I'm going to go back down, keeping in mind where I'm going. All right, that looks great. I'm going to switch over to this ear. Now the trick is I can get the same length by just using my paintbrush, putting my finger at one spot where the head meets the ear, and then at the top of the ear, now I have the same length that I can bring on this side. So now I'm just going to picture it, see how much of a head I want there to be on top, and I'm going to make a little mark, and now I can make that mark, take that measurement, bring it over here, and there we go. So now I'm going to do, Sam, I think it's a llama, but if you think it's an alpaca, I'm not sure. I have to look up the definition of an alpaca and a llama because I'm seeing both. But they're just cute no matter what. So I am going to create my other ear. So I've already made 2 dots by measuring this one, bringing that over here, planting the space between the ears, and now I'm going to do this line here. Now say is that the top or bottom? I think that's the inside part over here, so now I'm going to do the outside. So I'm going to bring that line over, lift up, just kind of see what you're doing, and now I'll bring it back in, looking where I'm going to land. I think he already looks really cute. All right, awesome. So I have like the shape down, and I'm going to add all these furry edges later. So I know I'm going to add more to it. He looks so funny. But I'm going to focus on my background. Now, with your background, you can do all kinds of things. You could do multiple colors. You could do from light to dark. You could do all kinds of flip-floppy brush strokes, or you can keep it super solid like I have here. So I'm going to use a few different brushes. I'm going to use my big brush because I have a lot of big areas, but then I also have some little nooks and crannies where I want to have a little bit more control. So I'm going to pick up a smaller brush. So when you're painting, you want to really think about what size brush to the area that I'm painting. All right, so I'm going to pick up my big brush. If you have a big one, that's great, or something like this. Anything is fine. We just have a lot to paint, so I just want something big. Also, when we're using a big chip brush, I don't like to add water because I get a lot of drips and I want this to be super opaque and solid. So I'm going to hold it nice and low like a pen or a pencil. And I'm going to start dipping in and working. I'm going to think about the direction of my brush stroke. There is no right or wrong, so you could do it all flip-flop in all different directions, or you can do it all in one. I think I'm going to try to focus doing it all in one, just really making it flat and solid. So I'm going to start, I'm dipping right on in. You could do a mixture of colors. You could do white with your blue, or you could do multicolors, kind of like a tie-dye background would be cool. So I'm just going to start right on my edge, tapping. And once I get close to my llama, or our little friend, whatever he is, I can always pick up my smaller brush just so I have a little bit more control. So I am close to my little guy here. Yes, it is an Llama. I love that. Yes, it is. Combo. So I'm just going in and I'm just kind of outlining, but also when I outline, I'm going to notice that outline if I don't kind of blend it in with the rest of it. So if I change my direction of my brush stroke, I'm going to really see it. So I just kind of outlined a little bit and then I continued going up and down, or however you'd like. And I'm going to continue over here. If you are outlining, I suggest outlining in small areas, then brushing it up. If I were to outline the whole thing, by the time I got back to filling in the rest, it would blend, it would dry, and I would totally see that that outline. I wouldn't be able to get rid of it. So unless I did a few coats. So I find that working in small areas for my outlines is super helpful. And also, you want a pretty good amount of paint on your brush, but I want my background to dry. So I'm just grabbing all the extras over here and bringing it over here. Of course, I can dip as many times as I want. I'm going to pick up my big brush, just kind of get that in. Again, you could totally be using crayons, markers, or colored pencils. Just when you're using, for example, a crayon, you're going to think about your layers, right? So if you are using a crayon or a colored pencil, think about how you want your background to be, because if you went really hard and dark on the background and then try to get, you know, these kind of sprinkles, it like sprinkles to me, or some like confetti flying on top, you would have a hard time really getting a bright color. So if you are using colored pencils or markers, all that, maybe get your confetti in first, or your polka dots, or whatever you'd like, then fill in around it. But for paint, I can just paint on top of it. So again, I'm close to my ear over here, so I am going to just fill in or outline loosely. And I always have that big brush just in case I need it for my big areas. Thinking about that direction of my brush stroke. Now, you know that I love doing like multiples. When I hang up artwork, I love especially like in a room, like if this is going into a kid's room, I would do maybe a couple and do different background colors, different decorations in the llamas, and I think that would be really cute. So that's something to think about. So you can get one down, and then if you had fun, you could do another and just change it up. So your little guy has some friends. And of course, you can paint the sides of your canvas if you'd like. I'm getting low on my blue. All right, let me grab a little bit more and we'll finish off our background. Continuing to think about, maybe actually now thinking about what color do you want the body of your alpaca llama to be, and do you want it to be white? Do you want it to be a light pink, a light gray, a light brown? Do you want them to be polka dotted? What color do you want your little guy to be? So once you are done with your background, I'm going to give my brushes a wipe, wash, wipe. I'm not going to bother washing my big brush right yet because I am going to, I'm not going to use it anymore and I don't want to dirty my water, but I'm going to just give my brush a quick little wipe off, then a nice wash, and then a wipe again. All right, so we have a plan of what color we would like our little guys to be. And I'm going to stick with my white, but I think like a really light brown would be really cute, or a light pink. Any color would be perfect for your llama. Just kind of keep in mind whatever your background is, you kind of want it to work together. Also, you want one to stand out. So just think of that. So I'm going to take my time and I'm going to start filling in my whole alpaca. I know my canvas is white, but it's not finished by just keeping the canvas raw. I'm gonna paint it. So I have white on my brush and I'm gonna start working in. Now I know my edges here are probably wet, right? Because we just painted it. So I'm gonna start on this side, working around, just kind of like filling in, just like I did in my background, because I'm allowing this side to dry while I was painting this side, right? So I'm trying not to grab that blue too much. Just filling in. And if you know anyone who would like this, please share. Maybe they are looking for something to do today or this coming weekend. So I'm just going in. I know I'm doing white on white, but it will really give it a nice finished look by filling it in. I'm also going to focus on the ear now. And if I have that first pencil outline, or the first outline we did with that light blue, I'm just going in and cleaning it up. So I can go over that outline if it is still visible. And I'm just going to switch to this side. Just taking my time. All right. Just filling in, think about the direction. If you're using multiple colors or, or brown or white, whatever color you're using, just think about the direction of your brush stroke. Think about how you're holding your brush. I like to hold it nice and low, like a pen or a pencil, just for a little bit more control, but whatever feels good to you. All right, awesome. So I'm gonna let this dry just for a moment, but I can get in my first coat into my center of my ears. So in my ears, I'm going to do like a pink, but I may do 2 coats, a darker and a lighter, just to show a little depth into my ears. And I'm just gonna kind of mimic the same shape of my ears, but I'm going to just do it in the inside with some pink. I'm going to pick up my smaller brush, so I have my big white grip right now, so I'm going to pick up my long brush and make sure it's clean. So wipe, wash, wipe. I wipe off all the extra paint, then I give it a wash, and then I give it a wipe. And I am going to dip into the pink, and I'm going to just create a shape of the inside of my ear. And if it's super light because of that white, you can go back and add a second coat. If you're using brown or a different color for your main body, maybe you can hold off on doing the center of your ears and really just let that dry and then go in. But because mine was white, I could just add that. I think she's cute. Oh, Sam, thank you so much for following and sharing. In this, you can watch any of my videos over once they're done being live. So thank you so much for that. And I see you work overnight. So yes, go get some rest, and I hope to see you soon. All right, awesome. So I have my ears in. It's starting to look like something. I'm not quite sure what, but our llama's coming. But now I'm going to start thinking about that background. I'm really going to let this part dry, and I'm going to focus on that background. Now I have like confetti or kind of like sprinkles, like this is like a party llama. So I am going to do just these really pretty colorful lines going in all different directions. Now, when I'm trying to get a nice thin line, I'm going to think about how I'm using my brush. Let me just grab a big brush for you. Just show you. All right, so with a big brush and a flat brush, I have a few different ways I can make my mark, right? So by using this whole bottom edge flat on my canvas and just sliding it, keeping all of the bristles on the canvas, I'm gonna get a really nice thin line. If I push too much, I'm gonna get a big mark. Also, I can use the whole width of my brush to fill in big spots, but for this part here, for my little lines, I'm gonna create just some small or thin lines. So I'm gonna be using the edges of my brush. So I'm gonna find a brush that I think is a good size, maybe this one here, just a small flat, and I'm going to start thinking about the colors. Now, you don't have to do my party background. You can totally do circles or flowers or anything you like, right? So just really start thinking about it. And also, if you want to try it out first, if you have like a scrap piece of paper, try it out on that. Then you can go ahead up on your canvas. So for mine, I'm going to start by adding just some of these lines, and I'm going to change the angle. So by the angle, like here's my line this way, then I can do one up, I can turn it like this, all different angles, right? It's like something's falling down. So I'm going to start with one color, and I'm just going to start with my white. And I'm going to get all my white in, and then I'm going to switch colors. Of course, I can go back to whatever color if I'm like, ooh, I want a little bit more of that one. Absolutely. So I'm just going to start by putting my brush down, sliding it. And I love that thickness. I think that's perfect for my painting. And I'm going to add another line here. And if your background is still wet, you can just wait or grab a blow dryer and give it a quick dry. And I'm just going to continue on. Just really step back and think about the placement, think about the direction of your mark. Really focus on using the edge of your brush. All right, I'm going to switch to my yellow now. So I have white on my brush right now, I'm going to dip right on into my yellow because that's really going to help with the coverage because my yellow is so translucent, depending on what kind of paint you're using. But this is a Craft Smart and this is bright yellow. So I have white and I have some yellow on my brush. Hi, Pa, how are you? And I'm just going to do these small little lines. Dad, do you like my llama so far? He's the best. All right, just going in here. Thinking about what angle is near my other ones that I'm adding. So I'm just going ahead and adding my little like confetti. And I can always go in and add like a second coat to that later. All right, so since I have yellow on there, I think I'm gonna jump into the green because green, there is yellow in there. So it's just gonna, I don't even have to wipe off my brush. But if your brush is getting really saturated and there's a ton of paint on there, just give it a wipe on both flat sides to just get the extra paint off. All right, and I'm gonna continue on adding my lines. Again, you could do all kinds of things. You could do polka dots. You could do like peace signs. That would be really cool. All right, very good. And I am going to just give my brush a quick little wipe and wash. And then I'm going to dip into, what do I got left? I have pink and purple. So I'm going to start with my pink and then I will go into my purple. So I have my pink on my brush, wiping it on both flat sides, compressing those bristles, and just going in to my canvas. And of course, you can do any colors that make you happy. And I always can go back and add more. All right, I'm gonna add my purple. Going on in. Let's see. Maybe one kind of coming off the canvas. I'll extend this one right here. Now they're friends, they're attached. And I'll do one here. All right. And I think I'll just stop for now and maybe I'll give it a second coat or add a few more here and there later. But for now, I'm good. All right. So now I'm going to focus back on my llama and I'm going to start focusing on his little face. So I need to add some black to my palette. So I'm going to just grab a little drop of that black paint. I like to keep it off my palette until I really need it because sometimes it gets mixed in with all my colors. So I like to keep that for last. So here we go. I'm going to add a little bit into my palette. I'm going to continue with my long flat brush, whatever one feels good to you. Now I'm going to focus on this section here. So this is the little mouth or face of my llama, and it's like a kind of like a teardrop or an oval with a little skinnier top. It's actually even like, if you were to break it down, almost like a triangle that's rounded on the top and bottom. But of course you can do any shape you'd like. So I'm going to go back to my llama over here and I'm going to just really picture where I want the placement of my little face or nose area to be, mouth and nose. And one thing I can think of, or one way I can go about this is, where is the eyes? Where are they going to be? So I'm going to just kind of run my finger right here saying, okay, my eyes are going to be here. So I want my nose and mouth to be below. All right, so I kind of see it. And now I'm going to just make a light gray. You could do maybe a light purple, you could do a purpley gray, you could do a brown, you could do whatever you'd like. But to get my gray, I am going to just scoop up a little bit of white, put it over here, and now I'm going to slowly add a little bit of that black to it, creating a nice light gray. Of course, it can be whatever color you'd like. So I think that's good. I'm happy with that color. All right, so back to our llama. Again, finding that place for his eyes. So I want to have enough room for a hat or my flower headband. I want to have enough room for my eyes. And now I can picture where that nose is going to be. So I can see maybe right about here. That looks good. So now I know the top and I know the bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create like a curve for the top. So this is a smaller little frown or like a little rainbow arch, just like that. All right, now I know that the sides are going to go kind of like on an angle. So we're going to create almost like a U or kind of like a V. All right, and it's upside down, of course. So I'm going to just bring that out, keeping in mind how big I want it, just slowly bringing it out. All right, now I can do the bottom of that, which is going to be a nice kind of like smile or kind of like a U shape for that bottom. And if it goes below my dot, which it's gonna, and that is totally fine, my painting's just telling me that I needed it to go a little bit further. All right, so now I'm just going to take my time and I'm going to just work on the shape, bringing it out a little bit. Now, if you're getting kind of like fuzzy lines on the edge of what you're doing, I think that means that we just don't have enough paint on there. So just add a little bit more. So I need to make a little bit more of my gray. So a little white and a little black. And now I'm going to go in and just really focus on filling in. And I can kind of redefine any of those edges or curves. And just fill in. Just like that. Perfect. All right. If you haven't added the inside of your ears, I'd suggest to add that now. And I'm going to start thinking about the head, whatever I'm going to start decorating my llama with. So I'm going to add these flowers and I'm going to have a few different colors. So you could do all the same or all different, whatever makes you happy. I'm going to use the same brush. You could use a smaller one if you'd like. And I'm going to start by adding just kind of like these lumpy kind of circle shapes. And then we'll go in later with our detail with our black. You could do any kind of flowers you like. And there's so many ways to make flowers. This is just a fun, easy way. And I'm going to just start thinking about the colors. So I'm going to do like 2 pinks, a yellow, a purple, and a blue. I'm going to just wash my gray off my brush real quick. So wipe off and wash. And I'm going to head back up to my little llama's head. Now you can do a baseball cap, a bow, whatever you'd like. It is yours. But I'm just going to start by adding this little flower headband. And how it's sitting on the head is in a slight curve, right? Because his head is kind of round. So just think about how it would be sitting on there. You could go straight across or have a slight curve like I'm going to do. So that being said, my first one is going to be down here, right below his ear. And I'm going to start going up and over and down. All right, so first one, I'm going to do pink. And my shape is like, it's a funny little bump. So just kind of I'm just kind of creating a little blob just like that. All right, that looks great. I'll add my black to it later, which will create a lot more form. But I'm just getting down these little shapes for now. Give your brush a quick little wipe if you're changing colors and a wash. I'm going to do my second one here. It's a little bit higher. Wipe off your brush. Change colors. And really think about how big they're going to be so you can fit as many or as little as you'd like. I have purple next. And I have blue. All right, I think that looks great. So I am going to let that dry, and I'm going to go back and focus now on my eyes. Now you can do all kinds of things. You could do like a winking llama. You could do a llama with just closed eyes, with just kind of like U's for their eyes. Let me grab a piece of paper and we can just go over a few different examples for some eyes. All right. So just real quick, if you want to change up the eyes, I kind of have these big eyes on mine, but you could do like two kind of closed eyes like that. You could add eyelashes to those. You could do a winking one, so one would have a close and the other would be open. Again, you could add eyelashes if you want. All different kinds of eyes we can create. So start thinking about it, practice on a piece of paper, but I'm going to stick with these right here. So again, using a brush that feels good for the size of your canvas and the size of what you're painting. So maybe picking up a smaller brush would be helpful, but I'm going to stick with mine. I really like my long brush. All right, again, using our finger, we're going to just create, I have like these kind of like elongated ovals for my eyes. Really picturing it, it's above my nose. Maybe yours are going to be really tiny, little circles, whatever you'd like. So I'm going to start by adding one here. And slowly adding to it. I always can make them bigger. It's harder to take away. I'm going to do the same thing on this side here. This llama, I think, is a little smaller than my other one, so maybe my eyes are going to be a little bit smaller. But I always can make them bigger. I'm going to add eyelashes later, but I'm definitely going to be using a detail brush for that. Slow it down. All right, there it is. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to grab my detail brush, and I'm going to start by adding my nose. So I decided to add a little heart for my nose. You could just do a circle or an oval. You can do it any color you like. You could do a pink oval. I'm going to do a pink heart. I'm also going to add just a little bit of white to my pink just so I can have better coverage. I find that it helps with light colors. So I'm going to find where I want to add that little heart, and if your nose isn't dry, just take a few minutes to wait and let that paint dry, or grab a blow dryer. So I'm going to draw a little heart with my detail brush, and I might do a couple coats just to make it really pop out. Slow it down. All right, so if you think you're like, oh no, I didn't get that heart doesn't look right, I'm not happy with it, one, just take a moment and look at it and say, well, is there anything I can do? Or if it's like, I need to get rid of it, just take a little piece of paper towel and just wipe it out, let it dry, and then if you need to do another coat of your gray, go for it, or you can just go ahead and add another heart right on top. So I'm probably going to do a couple layers just to really make this little heart pop. But for now, I think that looks great. All right, so I have my detail brush out. I'm going to go ahead and add my little mouth to my llama. So first step is adding my black. And if you have a nice detail brush, you can just roll it on the side of your palette to just get the extra off and sharpen that like a pencil. And then I'm going to go ahead and find the tip of my heart here. I'm going to do a straight line down, and then I'm going to create almost like a J, a curve. So I'm going to start down, adding more black as I go. Maybe this line won't be solid at first, and I'll have to go back in and add a second coat. Just slow it down. And so I have a J. Now I'm going to do another side to it. So I'm going to start right at the bottom. And there's his little face. While I'm here, I have a nice little outline on the bottom of my llama's chin right here. I'm going to do the same thing right over here. And if you wanted to pick up a different brush, you sure can. I like using either a detail brush or my long flat. And remember that our canvases are not stuck, right? They're not stuck on their easels or on the table. You can take them, move them, turn them, add them on an angle, put them on an angle, whatever works for you. whatever is easier too. You don't want to fight your work. Just gonna clean up this side. All right, awesome. So while I'm here with my detail brush, I'm going to add a few little eyelashes. So I'm going to just dip back into that black paint, and I'm just gonna do some eyelashes right over here. 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna turn over here for you. And I can clean up those lines and give them a second coat later. All right, let's start adding some fur. So I'm going to add just a few kind of like zigzags. Think of them as like a whole bunch of W's put together for my fur right here, like right under his little chin. So I can use a detail brush or my long brush or whatever one that I like. And I'm just gonna add a whole bunch of W's in a row right across. And add a little one over here. And one over here. Slow it down, step back, see what you need. I think I'm gonna add another one. All right, now I'm gonna start outlining and adding some more fur to the sides. So I'm gonna grab my long brush, just because I like that one. I'm going to wipe on both flat sides. This is my flat brush. And I'm just going to start outlining, but I'm going to also introduce some furry edges to my little llama. And these are just little pointy W's or V's coming out. Just adding a little fluff to my little guy. That looks great. Other side. Doesn't have to be the same on both sides. And I'm going to do the top of the head. I'm going to do my ears. I'm just going to do the outside of my ears, but if you wanted to make it pop, you could totally do the inside as well. But I'm just going to do the outside. All right, very cool. All right, so we're almost there. You're doing great. I'm going to pick up a detail brush again, and we're going to add just a few details into our headband here. Of course, if you're doing like a hat or something like that, you may have to add an outline, or if you want to add like a Red Sox symbol on it, you sure can. I'm going to start by adding with my detail brush, I'm going to add some leaves. And those are just very simple shape, almost just like the shape of the mouth. I could add a little point to it, and all I'm going to do is just add a few little leaves right around my flowers here and there, wherever I feel as though I need them. And I'm going to add one over here. And I see one more spot. I'm going to add one right here. All right. So now let's go ahead and add our details to our flowers. I'm just going to bring you a little closer. And it's very, very simple. Don't overthink it. I'm adding my black. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that there's a few little petals that I can really see in the center, which are just kind of curved lines or U's. And then I'm going to define a few of my petals on the outside, just some curved lines, really staying loose and not worrying about it. While I'm here, I'm going to outline this leaf here. I have a leaf here. You don't have to outline them if you don't want. And just be really aware of your brush, the tip of your brush, how much pressure you're putting on it. Again, our canvases aren't stuck up there, so you can totally move them, hold them, whatever is helpful for you. Sorry, my light And I'm just going to continue to add just some lines, really just having fun making these little curves, which when I step away, they read as flowers. And a little curve here. Just be aware of like where your hand is resting. You don't want to smudge your painting. It's a big flower. There, and I have one more leaf to outline. All right, awesome. One more thing while we're here, I'm just gonna add a few little highlights in my eyes, which I made here, and they're just 3 dots. I kind of focused on the size, so I start with one bigger one, a medium, and then a small, and they're kind of in this kind of like triangle shape, which means I'm just kind of stacking them. So here we go. I'm gonna dip the back of my brush into the white paint. This is gonna be my biggest dot because it has the most paint on it, and I'm gonna start right here in the top. Now I have a little less on there, so I'm going to do one on the bottom left and then a smaller one on the bottom right. Now I'm going to do the same thing over here. First is going to be my biggest, up here, and 2 more. Perfect. And if you wanted to clean up anything, you sure can. Sign or initial, wherever makes you happy. But I think my llama is happy, and now he has a friend, or they have friends, or are friends. But I could do a couple. Change the color of your background, change whatever decorations you have on there. I think he's happy, and I had a lot of fun painting him today, or her today. And if you have any ideas of what you'd like to paint, let me know. I also have a lot of videos below this that you could join, and just thank you so much, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye, my friends.